complicated. That's good to have people around.
Good evening and welcome to the September 28th, 2023 regular meeting of the San Diego Community Power Board of Directors. I'm Joe LaCava, chair of the board and the representative for the city of San Diego. I want to welcome the members of the public, community power staff, board members joining us in person today, and anybody watching remotely. I'll now call the meeting of September 28th regular meeting to order. Kimberly, will you please call the roll?
Yes, City of San Diego representative,
LaCava present.
County of San Diego representative, Imperial Beach representative,
Here.
La Mesa representative,
Aaron here.
National City representative,
Damani here.
Chula Vista representative,
McCann here.
Encinitas representative.
Kinsey here.
We have a quorum.
All right, thank you, Kimberly. Let's start the meeting by facing the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand if you're able. Hand over your heart. Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So next we'll go to special presentations, introductions, starting out with a land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that this meeting is taking place on the land of the original inhabitants of the greater San Diego region. A land acknowledgement is a critical step towards working with Native communities to create meaningful partnerships and inclusion in the stewardship and protection of their cultural resources and homelands. Let us take a moment to honor these ancestral grounds that were the traditional lands of the Kumeyaay. And with that, as has become the routine because of the robust hiring process of community power, we have 3 new members to recognize today. Adana Martinez, Public Outreach Coordinator, Jushuan Jameson, Public Outreach Coordinator, and Emily Fisher, Senior Program Manager. And I invite each of you to give a brief introduction.
I'll start first. Good evening. My name is Adana Martinez, and it's a pleasure to be in your company today. I'm originally from a small town near Fresno, but I've been living in San Diego for the past 15 years. Previously, I worked at UC San Diego where I supported research programs like the Center for U.S.-Mexican Studies in research conferences and seminars. But I'm really excited to join SDCP because I have a passion for empowering all communities and believe in order to achieve a sustainable and equitable future, everyone needs to be an active participant. So thank you for the opportunity to share my vision with you today. I look forward to the collective journey ahead.
Welcome aboard.
Okay, my name is Jushuan Jameson. I'm originally from Jamaica, so I've been here for 6 years. Originally, I worked for the San Diego College of Country Education, which is just a school that offers free classes that can help people of color and disadvantaged communities. But otherwise, another reason why I joined the San Diego Community Power is growing up in Jamaica, they spoke a lot about climate change and things that can be done to combat it. So when I moved here and I got this opportunity, I felt like this is the best thing to do to like help others and help the community with like doing climate change. And so I just jumped right at it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Welcome aboard.
Hi, I'm Emily Fisher, the new Senior Program Manager on the programs team. I've been in the energy industry for about 10 years now, doing energy efficiency, demand response, and most recently at a solar battery company. And I've been living in La Mesa for the last 6 years, and I'm just so excited to be managing and designing programs that support my community. So I'm thrilled to be here.
Welcome aboard. With that, are there any requests to add, withdraw, or reorder items on the agenda?
No, there are not.
Not seeing any. We'll move right along. Non-agenda public comment. I want to note that written public comments submitted before the board meeting were emailed to all directors prior to the board meeting and will be posted on the website at the beginning of the meeting. Kimberly, do we have any non-agenda public comment?
No, we do not.
All right. So next we will move on to the consent calendar. Are there any directors that would like to pull an item from the consent calendar? Not seeing any. Kimberly, do we have any public comment on the consent items?
Yes, on item number 5, Jim Whalen, strong support for SDCP's foray into infill procurement, especially the exciting possibilities for deployment of rooftop solar at scale.
Very good. And that is all we have?
That's it.
Okay. With that, are there any board comments or a motion on the consent items?
Chair, I would like to make the motion to approve the consent calendar. So moved.
All right, thank you, Mayor.
Second.
I think member Parent snuck in there ahead of you.
Okay, all right. It's not a
Okay,
race.
with that, all in favor of the motion to approve the consent agenda as is, raise your hand. And we see a raised hand over there by Mayor Aguirre.
Mr. Chair, I apologize. We will need a roll call vote because we have a member teleconference.
Okay. Kimberly, could you please do a roll call? Thank you for the reminder, sir.
Director Aguirre, how do you vote?
Yes.
Director Hensy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Director McCann, how do you vote?
Aye.
Director Parent, how do you vote?
Yes.
Director Yamani, how do you vote?
Yes.
Chair LaCava, how do you vote?
Yes.
Motion carries with all directors voting yes.
All right, thank you. And again, thank you, Nick, for that reminder. So we've just dispensed with items 1 through 15. About 5 minutes into the meeting. Now we'll go on to item 16, which is approval of a recommendation of in-house general counsel. And as a reminder to the board, these is a follow-on to the information item that we had last month, where there was a strong indication by the board to seek in-house general counsel rather than continuing outsourcing for that. I'll turn it over to our CEO, Karen Burns, to present this item.
Great. Thank you, Chair LaCava, and good evening, board members. Last month, as mentioned, we brought to the board the question of whether to in-house our general counsel, given our continued growth, the decisions of other large CCAs to do so, and the expected significant increase in legal work as our programs team begins to roll out its programs. Consensus at that time was yes, and the direction was to analyze the financial implications, research and build a job description, consider how to hire this individual, and determine an appropriate salary structure. So I'm here to present those findings and ask the board to approve the GC job description, amend the salary schedule to include the GC and approve the salary range, and discuss the recruitment process and appoint an ad hoc recruitment committee. Next slide, please. So just a bit about our process and how we arrived here. So when drafting our job description, we interviewed 2 general counsels of other CCAs and 1 formal general counsel out of 3 of the larger CCAs to learn what skills they found most relevant and important relative to their day-to-day. We learned that transactional and contract work was most important, followed by municipal law and experience, and that those 2 were the most valuable. We learned that various public agency rules are great to know out of the gate, but can also be learned fairly quickly. Culture and judgment fit were both identified as critical, as well as an understanding of the balance between reporting to the board and being part of the executive team. A final takeaway was that all continue to outsource the power contracting to a specialized counsel with a high level of expertise in this area. We also asked our fellow CCAs to share their job descriptions, which they were willing to do. We have a very collaborative group, and which helped us to form our baseline for the role. We've worked with the Mercer group to get a view of current general counsel salary information for CCAs, and we determined that our grade 18, which is consistent with our other executives in the C-suite, was the appropriate range to give us maximum flexibility while also being budget conscious. We therefore anticipate a base salary of between $300 to $330K, possibly up to $350 for this role. Our aim would be to post this role shortly after board approval. With regards to the recruiting process, it should be noted that this position, in alignment with the JPA, will report to the board. And therefore, the board should be involved in the recruiting process. First, we suggest using our existing recruiter through our existing contract, Futura Energy, to source potential candidates. Futura Energy has extensive experience in recruiting for the energy sector and has been very successful in recruiting a number of candidates for SDCP over the past year. We then suggest following our current recruiting process of screening and then interviewing an initial set of candidates and narrowing that group down to a final set of 3 to 4. The SDCP team can interview those final candidates, put together our notes and discussions from this first set of interviews, provide it to the ad hoc committee to use as part of their decision-making process. Once we've narrowed down that final field of 3 to 4 candidates, we propose engaging the ad hoc committee comprised of 3 board members and 2 executive team members to conduct a final panel and set of interviews with the final candidates. The ad hoc committee would then be responsible to make the final decision as to the selection of the company's in-house general counsel. Next slide. We were also asked to conduct a financial analysis, which we did. We first analyzed our legal spend as well as those of other larger and more established CCAs that are likely to best represent our legal needs and expenses in the near future as we roll out more programmatic offerings. So we looked at East Bay, Peninsula Clean Energy, MCE, and Clean Power Alliance to determine our potential future legal spend. Those with larger in-house teams spent considerably less on external counsel over time. The first chart represents our actual legal spend from August of 2022 to July of this past year. And the second chart shows the budgets of all 5 agencies for this fiscal year. All interviewed felt that in-housing general counsel was the right decision for them and helped to reduce overall risk to the agency and increase executive level support. Net, we determined that in-housing, given our expected growth and legal needs, would be relatively cost neutral at the outset, and in the long run, there would be potentially significant savings. Further details are found in the staff report. Next slide. So lastly, we wanted to reiterate some of the rationale we shared at our last meeting around the qualitative benefits for seeking to in-house general counsel. Benefits which were also echoed during our process of interviewing existing and former GCs of CCAs. Full-time dedication and a deep understanding of our team, our culture, and our areas of potential risk. Increased staff productivity and efficiency, as external counsel contracts can be managed by in-house to free up director and executive time, and new specialists, if any, can be hired and managed as well. Additional leadership support to the overall team, as well as to our executives. And lastly, the leadership team at SDCP, which includes our directors and executives, are all in support of this recommendation. This concludes my presentation.
All right, thank you, Karen. First, we'll go to the public. Kimberly, do we have any public comment on this?
There's no public comment.
All right, thank you. So I'll now, actually, before I turn over the board members, I'm going to ask our current counsel, because I think I got this wrong in December, in terms of appointing the ad hoc committee, is that responsibility of the chair, or is that?
I believe it is, and I will double check here while I'll vamp while I'm doing it. I believe it is the responsibility of the chair when an ad hoc is created.
Okay.
The chair shall appoint the members of the ad hoc committee. So once the board takes action to create it, you can appoint it.
Okay. So with that, I will turn it over to the board for any comments or questions. And this is an action item, so we'll be looking for a motion. Mr. Parent.
Yeah, I had a question about the, maybe we could go back to the slide about the process for selection.
Is there mic on?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I guess it's my understanding that the board, it's a board action to hire someone, right? And so can the board delegate the final hiring decision to the ad hoc committee? I guess it's no. So maybe I'm wrong. So I guess that's a question to the council or the CEO.
If it is just an ad hoc committee, the committee itself cannot hire. It would only a committee that's subject to the Brown Act could be delegated authority like that. But my understanding potentially is that the idea would be that this ad hoc and the other individuals on the committee would bring forward a single candidate who then the board could vote on.
Okay, yeah, so I think, yeah, so that's a good clarification. And I'm fine with that, but I would want to make sure that everyone has a clear understanding about that, and that the board members may, some board members who don't serve on the ad hoc committee wouldn't have an opportunity to interview the candidates or at least according to how it was described earlier this evening. Which again, I'm okay with, in part because I suspect I'm going to be promoted into being on the interview committee. But I'm not, just want to make sure everyone else is aware of that and is okay with that.
I will add on that the ad hoc committee may not bring just one individual. They may bring, depending on the candidates we see and the qualifications, that there may be more than one candidate brought forward for the board to interview before making a final selection. So.
Yeah, I'm okay with that
I
too.
mean, it's just, but I guess if that's what the board wants, if the board wants to have more than one candidate to review and interview as a whole board, I think, we should. Maybe no one, they don't care, but if people want that, we should probably, decide that and have to make sure that there's instruction to the committee.
Okay. Mayor McCann.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, but I've been through these processes multiple times. And I think the ad hoc committee can determine if it's one candidate or two candidates, depending upon how many candidates apply and which ones are qualified. I've seen it happen both times where one time it was, oh, this is definitely the single candidate that we'll recommend. And I've been on ad hocs before where there are two candidates that are highly qualified. We recommend, the A candidate, but B candidate is really, really qualified and was very close. So it should really be the entire board that should make that final determination who would be the better candidate. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any other board member questions? Always remember Mayor McGarry is on remote.
No questions, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Well, it sounds like it's the chair's decision to make those appointments, but I would like to make two recommendations.
Yes.
I would like to nominate board member Parent with his legal expertise and also Chair LaCava to serve as at least two of those three members.
Okay. I will add that Supervisor Lawson also volunteered. But certainly open. I guess we can only have three, but I see a nodding head, so. And I'm certainly willing to serve, so.
Okay. So move then, Mr. Chairman?
Second.
Yeah. And I think we need one clarification and the CEO can correct me. I think the salary range based on the latest and greatest of what's out there and competitive, and we certainly want to get the best, is in the $300,000 to $350,000 range nowadays, which certainly seems appropriate for $1 billion operation that we have now. Was that part of the motion?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
I think that's, Mr. Chairman, I think that's part of the guidance.
Guidance.
that was
Staff recommendation.
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to make sure it's clear. Was that a second, Mr.
Yes.
Member Parent?
Yes.
Okay, so we have the motion to approve the general counsel job description, to amend the salary schedule to include general counsel and approve a salary range of $300,000 to $350,000, and to consider appointing an ad hoc recruitment committee. So with that, we have a motion by Director Yamani, a second by Member Parent, and Kimberly, please call the roll.
Director Aguirre, how do you vote?
Aguirre, yes.
Director Hensy, how do you vote?
Kinsey, yes.
Director McCann, how do you vote?
McCann, aye.
Director Parent, how do you vote?
Parent, yes.
Director Yamani, how do you vote?
Yamani, yes.
Chair LaCava, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Motion carries with all directors voting yes.
Okay, and with that, as the chair, I will appoint Member Parent, Vice Chair Lawson Remer, and myself to the ad hoc recruitment committee, with the understanding that staff will provide a lot of staff support for us in going forward, and we'll be in touch. But thank you, Member Parent, for stepping up. Appreciate that. So. And so that motion passes. We're now on to agenda item number 17, which is the approval of resource adequacy agreements with EnerSmart. And I believe I'll turn over, there he is already, Kenny Key, to present this item. Kenny, begin.
Thank you, Chair LaCava and Board. Pleasure to meet you guys this evening. So again, Kenny Key, Senior Contracts Manager in the Power Services Group, and I was the lead negotiator on these contracts. If the name sounds familiar, it should, from last month, and I'll get into some rationale for that in a second. Next slide, please. So kind of some brief refreshers from last month. San Diego Community Power has local procurement targets that we targeted by 2035, 600 megawatts of local capacity. And so we're well on our way of trying to get to those targets, and these projects here today will help with that. EnerSmart is a local developer that has a portfolio of projects. We brought one of them last month. We're bringing a few more this month, and there's still 3 that we're still negotiating. So if you recall, we approved a RA only agreement with them last month for the first of the projects that they're going to have COD. After that, they were very successful in having conversations with both CAISO and SDG&E on advancing their deliverability for that project. Part of that conversation also demonstrated that with additional contracts with us for the RA from other projects, they could advance the deliverability as well, which is the reason we're bringing these forward today. Next slide, please. So the 5 projects today were all submitted. We have a rolling RFI. Again, I'll say that every time. I want to get the word out to as many developers as possible that we have a rolling open solicitation. If there's a project in San Diego or Imperial counties, we could have this submitted and review those on an ongoing basis. So these were 5 projects that were submitted as part of the portfolio. There's a total of 27 megawatts. These are all 2-hour lithium-ion battery projects for standalone storage. For the ones we're bringing forward today, again, these are RA only contracts. So this is not for the energy or power arbitrage. They're going to be using that with different parties, but we'll be engaging and procuring the local RA from the projects. There's 5 projects that are spread out throughout San Diego, from El Cajon to Imperial Beach to Alpine. You can see some of the representations here. The largest is 9 megawatts. The smallest is 3. Next slide, please. So just some key terms here. Again, we're looking at local resource adequacy, which is becoming more and more valuable to us, not just RA in general, but the local requirements that we have for compliance reasons. These are all 10-year contracts. We will lock in that local RA for 10 years. The guaranteed initial delivery dates range from September of next year to February of 2025. And that's important. We're trying to see if there's potentially some expedite. They can bring up that 9/15 by a little bit because for MTR purposes, there's a cutoff date every year in June 1st. So potentially that'll get moved up. If not, we feel very confident that that project will help us with our 25 MTR as well as the other ones that will be delivering by early 25. So we have internal targets that this will help with. This also helps, as I mentioned, with our local resource adequacy requirements as well as with MTR requirements because these are long-term 10-year contracts. We do receive financial compensation and protection as an agency if the projects, once they're online, if they fail to meet certain performance requirements for RA. Next slide, please. So some of the staff analysis here, so they will contribute to our 2035 local capacity targets again. It's nice working with local developers, smaller projects add up. So it's nice to kind of spread those projects out, especially on the standalone storage front. Again, I touched on the MTR compliance. So these will be online between 24 and 25 will help with our 25 targets. The pricing is competitive. We did run a standalone storage only solicitation recently. So we have pretty good indications of what market pricing is for these types of projects. And we're working very closely on other local projects for local RA in the short and long term. So we feel pretty good about the pricing we're able to lock in here. And again, I want to emphasize this is a local developer. These are all local projects, and it's aligned with our goal, helping support new build resources within San Diego. Next slide, please. And then I want to highlight a few things here on the workforce development and community benefits from these specific projects. So again, being a local developer, their goal is to employ as much local labor as possible. They committed to 100% being labor from California. They do try to emphasize as much San Diego labor when possible, if they can do that for everything on the project. All projects have committed to prevailing wage, and they don't have a PLA, don't have union labor for every aspect of the project, but they have committed to that for the electrical portion, which for these types of projects is typically around or a little bit over 50% of the labor on the projects. They do benefit the community by providing clean energy. So again, we're taking the RA portion of reliability, but helping to support financially these projects get built helps those local communities have resiliency and have access to that power. And again, these provide local storage. The more of these we can build, the less need for transmission to bring power in. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ken. Kimberly, do we have any public comment?
No, there's no public comment.
All right, so I'll turn it over to the board members for any comments and questions, and we do need a motion and action on this item.
If there are no comments or questions, I would be happy to make the motion to approve item 17. So moved.
Okay, we have a motion to approve.
Second.
And we have a second by member Parent. With no other comments or questions, and making sure I check in with Mayor Aguirre. With that, can you please call the roll?
Yes, Director Aguirre, how do you vote?
Aguirre, yes.
Director Hensy, how do you vote?
Hensy, yes.
Director McCann, how do you vote?
McCann, aye.
Director Parent, how do you vote?
Parent, yes.
Director Yamani, how do you vote?
Yamani, yes.
Chair LaCava, how do you vote?
LaCava, yes.
Motion carries with all directors voting yes.
All right, that passes. Thank you very much, Kenny, for that good work.
Thank you.
So next up, we'll go to reports, and we'll start out with a report tonight from our CEO, Karen Burns. Karen?
Great, thank you. Next slide, please. Okay, so we are still hiring, as you have seen. So I'm glad you had the opportunity to meet some of our new team members tonight. And we're still working hard to build our team, and we still have several positions currently open. We have our Director of Data Analytics and IT, our Account Services Analyst, a Risk Manager, a Contract Management Analyst, and a Compliance Analyst. The last two are in the Power Services team. The top two are in our Account Services, the Customer team, and then the middle one, Risk Manager, will live in our Finance team. We also are onboarding 2 new employees that will start October 4th. Christopher Stevens, who will be our Procurement Manager, and Ashley Rodriguez, for Local Government Affairs Manager. So you'll get to meet them at the next board meeting. All right, this month we enjoyed several opportunities to connect with our community. We tabled at Claremont Family Day and at the San Diego Wave Fan Fest. During these events, we were able to just really talk about and meet with our customers and talk about San Diego Community Power and answer their questions. We also participated in the I Love a Clean San Diego Coastal Cleanup Day at sites in Barrio Logan, Imperial Beach, and Chula Vista. And last month was a big speaking month for me. I was able to participate in several engagements. At the CAUSE conference in San Diego, I was able to moderate a discussion about building a climate resilient San Diego. During a Green.org's Green Summit, I spoke on prioritizing inclusion in the transition to our clean energy future. We were also the title sponsor of the Climate Action Campaign's Nexus Summit, where I sat on a panel discussing the importance of electrification. And then finally, at Innovation Day at Petco Park, Clean Tech San Diego President and CEO Jason Anderson and I participated in a fireside chat about how we can create opportunities for collaboration in the clean tech and sustainability realms. We also set a spontaneous goal of making clean energy and clean tech San Diego's 5th economic pillar after the military, tourism, biotech. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Karen. Whoops, excuse me. Thank you, Karen, for that good work in getting out and about in the community. Does our general counsel have anything to report?
I have no report, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
All right. And with that, we can go to director comments. I'll jump in first. The good work we do with Community Powers because of the employees we have, the executive team that leads them, and as some of you may have read an email, a special shout out to Laura Fernandez and the work that she does on the regulatory affairs. And we should not miss the fact that I think through the leadership of Karen, Laura's work, and so many others, the CCAs are really starting to work together and make sure they're an effective voice up in Sacramento with the CPUC to make sure we protect our interests in the mission that we have as a CCA. So thank you for that good work. I think the most recent bill that I'm forgetting the number of.
AB 1373.
The work that was done to really shape that into something that was good for California, but also good for the protect of the interests of the CCAs. That's just one notable example. So thank you for that very good work. Any other director comments?
Just that it's Oktoberfest this weekend in La Mesa. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone there.
Well, I wanted to get everybody out of time so they could get ready for that. So not seeing any. I give a shout out to Mayor Aguirre and for the big fight that she's in down in the city of Imperial Beach, that ongoing challenge there. So I think we're all in solidarity with that good fight because it affects us all. So good luck with your good fight, Mayor Aguirre.
Thank you, Chair.
So I wanted to go just a little bit longer than 5:30 because we don't want to rush through these business. October is going to be a little busier. We have a light agenda this time. We're going to have a longer agenda, but I know it'll be good things that'll come before us. So that does bring us to the end of the agenda, and I appreciate everyone's participation today. We are adjourned until the next regular meeting of the Board of Directors of San Diego Community Power on October 26, 2023. With that, we are adjourned.